Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Rian Johnson may be making his Star Wars trilogy a lot sooner than later, and a lot sooner than even I was expecting. According to Fantatracks.com, Disney has registered a production company that's expected to work on the first film of Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy by the name of E&E Industries UK Limited. That's the name of the production company. And if you look at what they did with The Last Jedi, the production company working on it was Space Bear Industries, and the working title for The Last Jedi was Space Bear. So the working title for the first movie of Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy may be titled E&E Industries. We don't know yet, but we do know that Disney is looking to employ people and get ready to start work on the Rian Johnson trilogy, the very first one. And if you don't know, Rian Johnson is getting his own Star Wars trilogy. He's writing and directing the very first one, but that's it. We don't know if he's writing and directing the second or third one. Right now, he's only working on the first one. We don't know what it's going to be about. We do know that it's not going to be set during the Old Republic era. He has come out and said this. He said he's still working on it, and he wants to go to a different part of the Star Wars galaxy that we've never seen before. Now, this could be a good Star Wars trilogy, but a lot of people are frustrated with Rian Johnson after what he did with The Last Jedi, and the reaction fans had to that. So a lot of people speculated that his trilogy was canceled. He's confirmed that it's not. The Game of Thrones creators have also basically come out and said that they're doing their own Star Wars trilogy as well. This is coming from the HBO network president, who says that they're going to be working on Star Wars after 2019, which is when Game of Thrones ends. So it's interesting to think, when are they going to start working on these films? If they're already getting stuff set up for Rian Johnson's film, at least in terms of production-wise, and getting it started, they haven't done that with the Game of Thrones creators that we know of, at least. And so that'll be kind of interesting to see which comes out first, because the Game of Thrones creators are working on their Star Wars films after 2019. I was assuming that they would start developing it in 2020, and you have it out within the next 2 or 3 years. Maybe in 2021 you get a release date for that, and then the Rian Johnson trilogy comes out maybe after that. But it looks like they may be doing something different. I don't know what the release date for this is going to be, but it looks very interesting that they're starting up on this, the Rian Johnson trilogy, before the Game of Thrones creators. And remember, the Game of Thrones creators are supposed to start on Star Wars after 2019. So what's going to happen here is the question. It's very interesting. The last bit of information I want to talk about is that apparently there is a new Star Wars TV show being made. Not The Mandalorian, not the Cassian Andor, a third one. It was filed under the production name of Series 3 Productions UK Limited. And this is coming from, again, Fantatracks.com. And basically what they're saying here is that there's a third Star Wars show coming out. Another one. And that's kind of interesting because we haven't even seen The Mandalorian. We haven't even seen the Cassian Andor show yet. And if you don't know what those are, The Mandalorian is going to be released this year, 2019, on Disney+. The Cassian Andor show is the other live-action Star Wars show that we're seeing, and that's coming out probably in 2020, maybe early 2021, and that's starting production late in 2019, though. So we haven't even gotten the first Star Wars live-action show yet, The Mandalorian, and we're already dedicating ourselves to a third different show. And recently they were rumored to have 5 different potential names. Another name that was added recently this week was also the Kenobi show. They're making rumor has it they're making a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi instead of the spin-off film that they were working on. I don't buy into that. I haven't seen any reports indicating that, but that's just my personal research on it. But take it as you will. I don't really care. In the end, this is a bold move. My big problem with the business strategy of making a third live-action Star Wars show is that we haven't seen The Mandalorian work, we haven't seen it fail, we haven't seen Cassian Andor work, we haven't seen that fail. I need to see those two work before I go into another show. That's how I would look at it from a business perspective of, I want to make sure these two are hits before I dedicate myself to the third one. Unless the third one is a guaranteed hit. Unless the third one you're just doing it to be bold and new and creative, then by all means go ahead. I mean, I don't mind more Star Wars content as long as it's quality content, and that's what Disney and Lucasfilm needs to understand. You look at the movies, we're having a new movie every year from 2015 to 2019, Force Awakens in 2015, The Rogue One in 2016, The Last Jedi in 2017, Solo in 2018, and then Star Wars Episode 9 in 2019. That's a lot of movies. And if you're going to do the same thing with the shows, you can probably expect the same burnout that fans had with the movies. A lot of people will admit that they are having a little bit of Star Wars fatigue, it coming out every year. Some of the times it feels a little bit rushed. Let's not rush this. Let's take our time on it. And I'm not saying they are rushing this. I'm just saying in general, let's not do too much at once. And I'm not saying they are doing that or anything. I'm just saying let's be cautious. I don't want a third one if the first two aren't going to work. And I'm talking about shows. So tell me your thoughts below. What do you guys think about this? Are you excited for another Star Wars live-action show? Are you excited for Rian Johnson's trilogy being worked on? I mean, the stuff's starting to kind of get into progress. This decade between 2010 and 2020 has mainly been about the sequels and Disney taking over Star Wars. Now, between 2020 and 2030, which, I mean, that's going to be a long time, but let's be honest, that's another decade we got to look at for Star Wars. we're going to be getting a lot more content, and it's going to be a completely different set of Star Wars content than we're used to. We're getting new shows and possibly 2 new trilogies. Tell me your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time. May the Force be with you.